Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 81 of the This Old Knit podcast. I am your host Nina, otherwise known as Ine on Ravelry, Instagram, and Pinterest, and you can find show notes for this episode on the episode thread of the This Old Knit podcast in the Ravelry group. This is a really weird setup. I'm not sure that I'm going to stay here. However, I didn't want to cart everything that I had upstairs. So I'm going to switch things around a little bit, and I'm going to film acquisitions first because I had quite a few things that either came in the mail or that I purchased because it was wool gathering last weekend. So I will do that segment, and then I probably will switch back up to upstairs because this is a really odd setup. I have you basically stuck on the top part of my desk chair, and then we have a couch, but it's a really low couch. So the height of these two is really different. I'm not even sure the camera is pointed at me properly right now. I've done a whole bunch of tests, but every time I do a test, when I go to actually play the video, I tilt the camera forward. It's a comedy of errors today. So I'm just gonna go ahead and, like I said, show my acquisitions, and then I will relocate. So, welcome. I had several things that came, but I wanted to talk about a gift that I received first. Jen contacted me on Instagram for if I would like to have some stuff she was destashing. So she got a kit from Pandia's Jewels, and she said it's really cool, but it's just kind of not my colors. So I'll send that along to you, and then maybe add some other stuff in. And you can pick what you want to keep and pick what you would like to give away. And so I was like, sure, absolutely. Thank you for being so generous, and thank you again, Jen, for your lovely donations and gifts. So the kit was Pandia's Jewels on her Snug base, and it's a Halloween-based one, which is totally awesome because I wanted to make some Halloween socks. So the yarn is based on Practical Magic, which is a really awesome movie. I actually went and rewatched it after getting this kit. So it had been a long time since I've seen it, and it was just as awesome this time as the first time. And so it is Midnight Margaritas. For those who are familiar with the movie, you will know what that is in reference to. It has this really neon green for the margaritas, some bright yellow, some black and orange, and neon green. So very neon-y, Halloween, witchy colors with a black mini skein for heels, toes, and cuffs. And then it also came with this little bag that is with witchy fabric. There's black cats and witches and pumpkins, and it's got a little zipper pull that looks kind of like the villain in the movie's ring, the marker on his ring. I'm blanking on his name now. Jimmy something. I don't remember his last name. That's really bad. I should have written it down. So that's what I chose to keep, and I've been using the bag for my spooky socks for Jilly's Cal, and then Tommy from Squirrel Pie Productions is doing a Deep Dark Night Cal. Jilly is from the Knitting Broomstick podcast, and she also now has a shop on Etsy. So yeah, I'm going to probably cast these on pretty soon so that I could have them done in time for Halloween. So that was one thing she included. And then she also included another sock set, and this is the one I'm going to use for a prize. So I probably will use it for one of the prizes for the FO Cal, And then I was thinking, I have a bag that I've had all the pieces cut out and its interface and everything for a really long time. So I thought it'd be fun if I finished up a whip bag and then I gave that away as one of the prizes. So I'm gonna make that be the other prize. So I'll draw 2 winners for this time. So this is from Artfill. It is hand painted, eco-friendly natural yarn on the Bell base, which is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon, 387 yards. So the main color is a white base with lots of different speckles. Again, very, there's some neon, but there's also just some bright primary colors and some teal, some magenta, purple, and then it has a lime green mini for heels, toes, and cuffs. And the colorway is called Confetti. So that will be a giveaway for you guys. And then she also sent me a set of mini skeins. She put a note with it that she intended to give me a bunch of glitter yarn for my my Give 'em, my glittery blanket of unicorns and magic, but she realized she didn't have that much sparkle yarn or glitter yarn, so she made it more of a fall theme. But there are 3 in here that are sparkly. So these top 3 have glitter in them, and then the bottom 3 are just more fall themed. But I love them all, and I have multiple scrap blankets going, so they will all get used. So thank you, Jen, for all of your wonderful gifts and the prize donation. I really appreciate it. So yeah, that was a fun package to receive. Sorry, my nose is a little bit itchy. I have a little bit of allergy stuff going on. And then Megwin and I went for what we call Ladies Who Lunch Day. Unfortunately, the tea house that we usually go to has closed. So we didn't get to eat tiny sandwiches and drink tea out of china teacups, but we did go to a French restaurant and we had good food. We both shared a salad. She had what's called a briquette. So it's like phyllo dough with like cheese and spinach, and it's baked. It's really good. And then I had a cup of French onion soup, and then we shared a couple of different pastries. So that was fun. And she requested, I did not prompt this, to go to the yarn store because she loves the local yarn store to me. It's in an old house in the historic part of Dublin, and it just has all these neat little corners and tucked away places, so it's a really fun yarn shop. I love it. It's Knitting Temptations. If you are ever in the area, I highly recommend going there. It's not that far from, if anyone comes into town for TNNA, that's downtown in Columbus. I don't know if it's every year or every other year, but if you go to that, it's not that far of a drive to go and visit Knitting Temptations, and it is awesome. It's worth the drive. So she picked out some yarn for socks for her because she loves rainbows. And these are the Regia, My First Regia in the Baby Smiles line. This colorway does not have a name on it, but it is color 01889. So they're the same dye lot, they're just wrapped differently. So the purple's kind of all inside on this ball, but it's outside on this one. So they start at a different point. But one of these makes a sock for her, so I made sure I got 2 so I could make a pair for her. And she's really excited about having some rainbow socks. So that'll be fun. And then I got some club stuff coming in, and I realized I haven't shared my minis from No Makers for a while. I have another set too, and I don't know where I put them. I'm betting Joshua got a hold of them and my husband probably took them from him and had to put them somewhere. So I have the previous shipment, which was all based on traveling. And Amanda's stuff always comes with some neat little extras. So this one has a compass, bandages, sprinkles, and a spelunking rope, which is one of those like paracord bracelets, in hot pink and black. I love that there's sprinkles in there because I'm pretty sure you totally need sprinkles when you go traveling. My family would. And inside of the package, I know they're labeled here somewhere. Sorry. Is sun, campfire, sprinkles, Sherman the canoe, and gnome of the lake. So I actually have a full skein of sprinkles, so I think I might take this one and use it for a mini skein swap because it's already wound up. Anna of the Anna Knitter podcast and I are gonna do an Advent swap with each other where we're each gonna give each other 24 mini skeins and then one full skein for the 25th. And we're also gonna, include extras like tea and candies and stuff like that. So I need to wind up my minis for that pretty soon because she lives in Austria. So we agreed we probably should get things in the mail by the first week of October just to ensure that everything will arrive in time to open it all for the Advent season. And I'm gonna try to buy a wooden calendar with the doors this year. Tuesday Morning had them last year. They were, they had a couple different ones. They had a tree-shaped one, and then they had one that was, I think it was like a house. And I looked at them and I was like, no, I'll get it later. Mistake. I always talk about if you see something at Tuesday Morning that you like, you have to buy it. So I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit for that because it would have been perfect to put little mini skeins in the doors because they were about that big, so they would have been perfect to put it in there. But fine. I'm sure they'll have something this year and I will get it. I'm in a really weird position too because I'm kind of sinking back into the couch. I'm going to do some sit-ups. And we've lost power for the last 2 days from 3 o'clock-ish to about 7:30. We keep having rolling blackouts. I don't know why, but that's when I get home from work. So I've been planning to do laundry and stuff, but I haven't got to. So I have no clean jeans. I'm wearing these pants that I really don't like how they fit me. So I have this weird stuff going on here, but let's just ignore that for right now, shall we? As I said, I went to wool gathering. I did not buy much because it was really hot. We camped. I will include some video and stuff at the end of the kids at the wool gathering. They had a really great time, but I think what my mistake was is I went and looked at the animals with them. So unfortunately, they were kind of crapped out by the time I was trying to find things to buy. I didn't want to buy much, but I did have a short list of things that I wanted. I managed to get most of them. So I wanted to get the Tuft Woolens. I wanted to stock up on Tuft Woolens because Martha was there. And because she's doing a lot of shows, she doesn't always have a ton of inventory in her shop. I am allergic to lavender, so I can't use some of her products. And those have been the ones that have kind of been hanging out a little bit more in the shop, like Royal Apiary, her apple picking, her lavender bar. There's another one. It's like a woodsy one. that also has lavender. So I have to be careful. She's really good about if I accidentally buy one that has lavender, she actually will message me and say, hey Nina, this has lavender. What do you want me to sub it for? So she's great. But anyway, I wanted to support her and stuff. So I went and got a bunch of Tuft Woolens. I posted a picture on Instagram, but I will insert it here as well. So I got bath bars, sock soap, and 2 hand balms. So that should keep me in soap for probably the next 6 to 8 months. And then my friend Andrea actually messaged me that Destination Yarn was going to have a special themed sock yarn for wool gathering this year. So I had to have it because I had to. It is called Have You Tried the Fried Cheese Curds? Which the place where wool gathering is held is at a dairy farm, and they have the most amazing ice cream because they make all their ice cream on site, and it's really affordable as well. And then they also make fried cheese curds. They're like deep fried. They're terrible for you, but they're so delicious. I did not get to have any this year because my children crapped out on me, but that's okay. We had ice cream, which is the more important thing. And it's yellow. So it's this golden yellow with black flecks. It almost looks like a tweed, but it's not. So it's an 80-20 merino nylon base. There's 400 yards in this skein. And I'm sort of playing around with doing some kind of fade palette of cream to gold. So maybe with Fool's Gold, this one, my first Adelaide Cottage Gilmore Girls themed, the I'm Ready to Wallow Mom, and I haven't thought what else yet. So no direct purpose for this one yet, but soon. The other thing that I got is there is a yarn truck, like a food truck, but with yarn inside, which is amazing. And they have this colorway that's exclusively dyed for them. So the yarn truck is called Yarn Birds. Yarn, BYRDS. They have a Facebook page too, so you can see where they're going to be, but they only travel in the Ohio area for now. So the Fiber Seed dyes a special colorway for them called Yard Bird. You know, like plastic flamingos. So it's flamingo colors. I don't know how it's going to knit up. They didn't have a sample. I'm thinking maybe it's going to stripe, but maybe it'll be just kind of flex, but it has, you know, the light pink, this darker coral pink, and the black. So there's that. I'm super psyched about that one as well. Megwin loves flamingos, so there will probably at least be some socks for her out of this, and I'm thinking socks for me too. So I can use some of this mini because this is a fat mini. So if I just do only heels, I probably could also do heels for Megwin socks, and then I'd be able to squeeze a pair of socks out for me. So that's all I have with me that I bought. So the other thing I was looking for was I have some alpaca that I had bought the prior year in this brown color, and I intended to make a Tales from the Isle of Purbeck shawl, but I got a lot of it. So they were having a deal, I think, of like 3 for $72 or something, and each skein is like 600-ish yards. So I think I got 3 of them. I only need 1 for that shawl, so I was like, what am I going to do with these other 2 skeins of kind of nutty brown alpaca? But they had like all of the different natural shades of alpaca at this booth, so I was like, what I want to do is go back, get a cream and like a buff color, and then do a goldfinch shawl by Andrea Mowry, which is a 3-color shawl. It uses short rows. Jessica gifted it to me last year, and I've been wanting to knit it, and I just haven't had a chance to do so, or I haven't really had yarns that I felt like knitting it out of. So I thought, oh, wouldn't that be pretty in like all of these natural colors? And then it could be one that I would wear with my coat and stuff as like an external, all shawls are external, right? But an outerwear shawl versus a lot of my shawls are more just like decorative shawls. They add a little bit of extra warmth, but they're intended to be style pieces. So this one I'm intending to be like my warmth piece. And because it'll be in kind of natural colors, it also would be good for throwing on for camping and stuff like that. So I could not find that vendor to save my life. I couldn't. I walked up and down the tents trying to find the person, and I could not find them. So my friends Andrea and Jen attended. Hey. So as I was saying, my friends Andrea and Jen attended the show as well, but I didn't get to spend a lot of time with them, unfortunately, because refer to previous comments about kids crapping out from 80-degree weather. It was really hot. So what I did is I was texting with my friend Jen and asking her if she could find the alpaca, because she also wanted to get a little bit more of it to make something with. So she managed to find them, and she wanted 1 skein and I wanted 2 skeins, and they had again the deal of 3 for $72. So I got her a bit of a discount by buying the 2, and then she bought 1. So I just have to pay her back. She left it with my friend Andrea because she actually has relocated to Iowa, but she did fly back for the show, which made me really sad because I didn't get to hang out with her, which was a bummer. But whatever, it is what it is, and she's pregnant. She'll have a child soon, so she will totally understand where I'm coming from on that one soon. So yeah, so I have the alpaca, but I do not have it in my possession because then my friend Andrea was on vacation all of last week. So I haven't seen her, but I will see her on Monday, and then I will share that delightful stuff with you. So then moving to the things that I have bought. So for Labor Day weekend, Tommy from Squirrel Pie Productions and the dyer behind Moonstone Dye Works was having a Labor Day sale. 2 of the dyers that I really enjoy were having Labor Day sales, and I caved. I totally caved. It was 20% off. So I got this. I'm gonna get major shadows because now my phone is sitting at a completely different angle. This is gonna be such a weird, disjointed episode, and I really apologize. It is mauve with lavender and black speckles. I will also insert a photo if I can, because I did take a photo with natural light and it looks much better than it does in this gooey yellowish light. So I got that. And then from the Yarn at Home Mom, she has these wholesale orders, which she said are going away. So it is 4 skeins of her sock weight yarn for $52. It's pretty darn amazing. And they're Gilmore Girls themed. And she had 20% off. So it basically meant I got free shipping on that much yarn. So I went ahead and bought a sweaters quantity, which 4 skeins would definitely be a sweaters quantity for me, of her Dragonfly In colorway. It's kind of a cream with different multicolored speckles on it. It's beautiful. I have a mini of it in my Gilmore Girls mini skein sets. So I went and looked at all of those to decide which one I wanted to have a sweater's quantity of. It was between that and Luke, Will You Marry Me? But I went with that one because I have other sweater quantities that are kind of pinky red, and the Luke, Will You Marry Me is pinky red. But I don't really have any that are a more neutral color, which is what the Dragonfly Inn is. So that has not come yet. It hasn't shipped yet, but it's coming. And then, ooh, I need to get something that goes with this. Sorry. Okay. And then my Gilmore Girls Adelaide Cottage Club came. This is my last shipment. Yes, this is my last shipment. So if you are a part of this club and you do not want to see it, look away now. Pay no attention to the screen. But here it is. It's called Luke's Pancakes. So it's from the scene where Lorelai hurts her hand on the gutter and says that she needs Luke's pancakes to make her feel better, and she goes and finds him on his day off and makes him cook pancakes for her, and he totally caves and does it. So this one has a light shell pink in here, bright coral pink, cream, pancakey brown, and a dark chocolate brown. There's the pancakey brown, golden. And then it came with a little stitch marker, which is a pancake with syrup and butter from the Gnome Knitter. Oh, and strawberries. I love the Gnome Knitters Progress Keepers. They're so detailed and so adorable and beautiful. So I'm very excited about having one. I've looked at her shop for a while and I have not yet partaken because I can't stop buying it. I had one more that came. Again, it was a club colorway. I guess I'll have to show it next time. It was the last installment of the Twin Steaks Club, and it's over on my desk somewhere. I'm really trying to organize my desk downstairs. I tend to bring things down with the intention of starting new projects, and then I just end up with a bunch of yarn that I intend to make things with, and I just haven't started yet because then I'll work on a whip. So I get a lot built up. And then also when I finish a project, I had a bunch of balls of yarn that I just put to the side, and I'm like, okay, I need to go and bag that up, but I don't have time to do it right now, so I'm going to just leave it here on the corner of my desk. I filled up a gallon-sized bag with all of that stuff that had been building up, like the freezer bags, the Ziploc bags. That's what I keep all my scraps in. So I need to move those. I think later today I'm gonna, like I said, go up and wind a bunch of minis. So this is a really good time because I've got all those bagged up together now. All right, so now I'm surrounded by acquisitions. That's basically everything that I have since last time I podcast, which was 3 weeks ago. So a lot of my club stuff has come in, like I said, and I had the Fiber Festival, which I always buy stuff for every year, and then the gift from Jen, and that's it. So, whips. No, let's do FOs, because I have 2 this week. Hey! No, I have 3. The first one, and these are all for my FO Cal. First, administrative stuff, because I'm going to forget. And I wrote it down in my notebook so I wouldn't forget. But I thought I was going to relocate, and I'm not now. So, first off, Mina donated to me from Knitting Expat Podcast, donated to me the beautiful, beautiful color blender wrap. And she gave me a copy, and she also gave me a copy to give away to all of you. Unfortunately, I forgot to mention it the last time I podcast, and then it's been 3 weeks. So I'm going to open up a giveaway thread, and I really, really apologize for not doing it sooner. So I've also passed 900 subscribers, so yay! Thank you, everybody. And so I think I will use it for my 900 subscriber giveaway. So, what's the prompt I want to do? Just tell me what colors you would like to knit the Color Blender wrap in if you were to win the prize. So it's like a stole, so it's a kind of rectangular wrap, and she used a gradient set. I think she went from like a light creamy color to a pine color. So you can look at it, and there are definitely projects now, so you could look at those for ideas. But yeah, just tell me what you would like to knit it out of if you were to win the shawl pattern. And then I also redrew for the Random Fandom Cal. It's been about a month and a half since I announced the winner, and the winner has not contacted me. So I redrew, and the new winner is Harkness Angels. Yay! So please contact me on Ravelry, send me a PM, and send me your address. And also tell me what you would like your bag to be made out of, because I was going to make a bag out of something that would go with your fandom. So Harkness Angels, it looks like you enjoy Harry Potter and also obviously Doctor Who. I have fabric for both of those kinds of bags, so if you just let me know, I will whip one up for you of a sock size, and I will send it your way. I don't have one immediately next to me to show you the sock size that I mean, but I will make one and I will send it to you, so please contact me. Then I wanted to remind everyone that the FO Cal ends on October 1st, so you have about a week left to enter any objects that you finish during the month. I finished so much stuff with this cal, guys. So this was a great cal for me as far as just getting me motivated to finish things up. And I've really enjoyed seeing all the stuff that everyone else is finishing. So get them into the FO thread, and I will draw for winners on October, whatever weekend aligns with the October 1st-ish deadline. I was thinking about doing an autumnal cal, but I feel like everybody's doing an autumn cal. So I think I'm not going to do one. I think I'm going to take a little break, and then Anna from the Anna Knitter podcast, who is Annalena Knitter on Ravelry, and I were talking about doing an Advent cal. So I think I'm going to co-host one with her. And we haven't really worked out all of the details yet, but I'm guessing it's going to be probably November and December timeframe. So more to come on that. So we'll just take October off. And if you want to knit things for the fall, Anna's having a cal. Gabby from Once Upon a Corgi is having a pumpkin make-along. There is the Spooky Socks cal, like I said in the Knitting Broomstick podcast. There's the Deep Dark Night cal in Tommy's podcast, the Squirrel Pie Productions podcast. I'm sorry, I can't talk today. Only had one cup of coffee. So that's that. So now we can go to FOs, right? Yay! So in the interest of the FO cal, I blocked my Snowmelt shawl finally. And it is beautiful. I love it so much. So this sucker blocked out super, super big. This is a pattern by the amazing Helen Stewart, who is Curious Handmade. And I knit it out of No Maker's Eggnog, That's the one that my nose is on. Francophine knits in the macaroon colorway. That is the multicolored. Let me bring it closer. The multicolored on the bottom there. And then the pink is Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the rose colorway that my mom bought me for my birthday last year. So it's a half pie shawl. There you go. You can wear it like that. You can wear it up over your shoulders, like a deuce. Or of course you could wear it behind your back. I also wore my Oracle shawl all the time for camping, and it was the best shawl for camping because it kept me warm and I could actually bring it up over my head if I wanted to. So it was kind of a pseudo hat. So yeah, this is my snow melt shawl. Or as I called it, my in summer shawl. Because I think of Olaf now when I think of snow melting. Like, what do snowmen do in summer? They snow melt. And then I just store it so that it stays blocked. I kind of roll it up thusly. The second thing I finished, because it's washed, it's blocked, I just have to weave in the ends, and then it became hot, so I didn't want to do it because I'm angry that it's not fall. It was 89 degrees yesterday, y'all. 89 degrees. That is, let's just round it up to 90. Subtract 30, divide by 2. It's 30 degrees Celsius. Ridiculous. And then we had no power. I know I should not complain because people in Puerto Rico and Florida and Texas still don't have power from the hurricanes, but I live in Ohio. I don't live in places where it's tropical all the time. I don't want to live in those places. I lived in Mexico for 2 years, year and a half. And it was hot and tropical, and I did not like it. So, this is going to be really hard to show. It is my French toast sweater by the very talented Alicia Plummer. There you go. Let's stand up. It's knit out of Gaia's Colors Mama Quilla worsted base. It is discontinued, don't go look for it. She was a really, really great dyer, and I'm sad that she doesn't dye anymore, but this was the very first indie dyed sweater quantity I ever bought. And I finally knitted it. And all of the stuff just caved in around me. Got yarn skeins under my butt. It fits amazingly. I love it so much. I knit the size 38 and I did not modify it at all beyond that. I have a very unfortunate end in there that's making it look weird. Right there. And right there. I don't know what's going on there. I alternated every row, and yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. The lighting is very weird in here, so it's looking like it is much less uniform than it is, but it is quite variegated. I didn't have any pooling. Yeah, now see, my light's doing real weird stuff. It's a super dark, kind of grassy green. I learned how to do, what kind of bind off is this? I don't remember. That's gonna annoy me now. It's a really nice bind off too. and I'm going to use it going forward. It's much better than Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, so I used it on, it's like a sewn bind off, but it's not like Elizabeth Zimmerman's sewn bind off. It's a different sewn bind off. Tubular cast off? Tubular bind off? But it basically lets the ribbing, like, it looks like it just rolls right into itself. It's very flat and nice. I hear children. I don't think it's my children, but it could be. So I'm going to take this off because it's ridiculously hot. This is the worsted weight sweater, and it's still in the 80s today. Okay. But yeah, let me come closer. See? See that really nice bind off? And it makes everything lay so nicely flat. I used this surprisingly stretchy bind off on the bottom. I might actually go back and unpick it and redo it because I prefer the other one. But I don't know if I care that much because when things are on, the surprisingly stretchy bind off looks fine and it is more stretchy. So on the bottom where it's going to be on my hips, maybe I want the extra stretch. I don't know. But anyway, it's done. I just have to, like I said, weave in the ends. And yeah, so that is another entry for the 13 Months of Magic Cal, which is also a cal being done in Jilly's group. And it is knitting 13 objects that are magical. So I'm going to use that one in my shawl. And then my last finished object, look what happened with mine. Seriously, people, problems. I have them. It's been a rough week. A rough week at work. And kind of at home too. So the kids have been a little challenging and yeah. So anyway. I'm gonna have to move some stuff off my phone. I'm getting up to my full 3 minutes of recording time, which means all of my video from the different festivals and stuff is clogging up my memory. So before I do whips, I will clear that off and I will be back in a little bit. All right. Okay, I'm back. Let's move on to whips because I'm probably gonna get interrupted. I put away all my acquisitions, I put away my FOs, and I have another FO I was supposed to show you. Oh my gosh. Box of socks. Since this really didn't show up well last time, I thought I'd show it to you closer up because it was super glary upstairs. Apologies, I have no window covering in the nook, but that's usually where I have natural light. There's my box of socks, the state of things right now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pairs. The pair I finished are these. They were supposed to be for Meg from Bad Wolf Girls Sits and Knits podcast. She had a Christmas in July cal. She extended it to August, and I decided I was going to do my sweater and finish that up instead, which is fine. Now my Christmas sweater is complete. However, I did not finish these in time. So, I finished them last night. I don't know what happened, but my toes are actually different sizes. My heel flaps are the same. My length of foot is the same. I started the heel flap at the same time. So my only guess is that I must have had more stitches on one of my needles. I didn't really care enough to rip it back. So one ends with 10 stitches and one ends with 12 stitches, and that's just fine for me because my socks are matching my feet. My feet are not the same size. They're slightly off. I think I'm maybe one row off is my guess. But it is not noticeable. They're knit out of the Yarn at Home Mom yarn in the Candy Cane Coffee colorway, and then I used a mini thread heels. I thought I was going to run out of that, but I actually still have a lot of it, so I probably could do heels for one of the kids' socks as well. So I'll come a little closer. I'm getting shadows from the chair because the top of the chair is right there, so if I go too close, it's gonna shadow. But they're really nice. I like them. They fit well. They're very comfy. So they are going in the box. And then I have my last socks planned out, and I actually cast on for one of the pairs today. So I want to make the Taunus socks out of my Mooncusser yarn, which was last year's Mystery Halloween skein from Bull and Vine Yarns. The delightful Kristen. And the box of socks, Cal, is in Kristen's group as well, which is the Yarngasm podcast group on Ravelry. If you're interested, it's a year-long, Cal. You knit 12 pairs of socks, you put them in a box and take a picture, and that is one entry into the Cal. They all have to be for you. They cannot be for other people. And last year I didn't complete it, so this year I want to do it. So here's Mooncusser. Ugh, those shadows, seriously. It's on the Blitz base, but you won't be able to see the sparkle from there. It's like a light purple, dark purple, and speckles of orange. So very Halloween-y. So I'm also going to enter it into the Spooky Socks Gal and the Deep Dark Night Cal, because Mooncussers were land pirates that would go and smash out lighthouses so that they could then steal the stuff from the ships when they crashed. Pretty spooky. All I've got so far is this. I just cast them on this morning. So I've literally done 6 rows of 1x1 ribbing. Also, Kristen put up a tutorial for Norwegian purling, and I'm starting to hear people talk about Norwegian purling, which is awesome. Everyone should Norwegian purl. I Norwegian purl, and that's how I taught myself to purl. When I taught myself to continental knit about 3 years ago, I was home on maternity leave with my son, and I, with Megwin, developed tendonitis in my thumb. So when I had another newborn, I did not want to exacerbate that injury again, so I decided I was going to learn to knit with my left hand so that I didn't have all of the motion of right-handed knitting. It is way better for that hand. I haven't had to have any injections. I was having to have cortisone injections. I haven't had to have any. And Norwegian purling is very natural because you even get rid of moving the yarn to the back or the front. It's always in the back for knitting or purling. It makes it really fast to do ribbing. And I purl that way for everything. I tried to learn how to purl the traditional way with your left hand. I couldn't get it, guys. I don't know how you even do it. Like, you kind of drop the yarn down, I think. I looked at YouTube videos, I couldn't figure it out. And then Amanda from my group, who's Amanda May, and I know there's numbers after 84, I think. She said, try Norwegian purling. I tried it, life-changing. So I've been doing it that way for 3 years. It's great. There's the Very Pink Knits tutorial, I think, is the best one because she uses really light yarn. She really explains things well. I always go to her group page if I'm unsure of how to do something. I mean, her YouTube channel, her YouTube channel. If I don't know how to do a knitting technique, 9 times out of 10, she's going to have a tutorial. So, yeah. That is how I purl. One of these times I'll get my husband to record a video of how I knit and purl, just because I've had some people ask me to include a little video clip of myself knitting or purling, but I would need help with that. So those are a freshly minted cast on. And as I said, I'll be doing the Taunus socks by Becky Sorensen. The next width, which is in the bag I shared with you earlier, is knit out of my Knit Picks Felici in Witch's Brew. I am doing an informal cal with Disa from the Disa's Craftwork podcast and Annie Knitter on Instagram. and we're all doing the same yarn. So we're all knitting Witch's Brew Felici, which is self-striping. It has a stripe of lavender, black, maroon, blue, and kind of a blood red. I'm going to do blueberry waffle socks for these because I just haven't done a pair in a while, and I have seen some socks knit in Felici and blueberry waffles pattern, and it looks great, so I want some. So I'm doing that. I'm knitting them on my 2.5 millimeter needle Carbons because they were the needles that were free. So again, 2x2 ribbing, 1x1 ribbing, 2x2 ribbing. Man, I am a fascinating podcaster today. Next up, long standing with, in my gigantic bag, bigger than my head. This is a bag I knit for myself out of 2 fat quarters. This is the one that killed my last sewing machine and made me buy a new sewing machine. But it's huge. So inside of it is my 10-stitch blanket. And I did knit some on it when it was fall weather, which it's not now. Bummer. But here it is. It went into a little bit of hibernation, but it's back. It's back. I'm knitting it out of yarn that I forgot to check on what it was. Cascade Yarns Eco Duo in a Thunderstorm colorway. It is an alpaca wool blend, and it's kind of marled, so it has all of the kind of natural grayish and cream colors of alpaca, and then they're just marled together. But it makes this really cool effect on the blanket, like op art. And I love this blanket so much. Whenever I can knit on it, I love it, love it, love it. So since I showed it to you last, where is my stitch marker? I put a stitch marker on it. Oh, it's over here. I put on this little sunflower stitch marker, and then I have not shown it since then. So I knit here, around, see here. The rows are obviously getting much longer because it's getting bigger. So a 10-stitch blanket, which is a free pattern by Frankie Brown, and all of Frankie Brown's blanket patterns. I've got alpaca fuzz on my eyelashes because I was holding it over my face. I super highly recommend. They're all free, but she asks for you to donate to her causes if you are so inclined and like her patterns. They all start in the center and then spiral out. So you're always only working 10 stitches, thus the name 10-stitch blanket. And you are attaching your strip as you go. So on one side you have like these ridges, almost like spines, and on your other side it is flat. So on my gibbum, I am knitting it with this side being the right side because I liked that it really created like distinct rainbow type strips. I don't know what I'm saying right now. I just liked it. I liked the effect. And then I thought it would be flat on this side. This one I knit the opposite way. This is the right side because I've got all my ends on this side. But really either one could be the right side, so it doesn't really matter. Once the ends are all woven in, it's not gonna hugely matter. Whatever people want to use it for. I want this to be a giant couch blanket, and I'm just going to keep knitting it until I run out of yarn, which may be fairly soon. We'll see. This is about how much I have of this cake, and then I have 2 more cakes. I feel like I have another one somewhere, but I can't find it. So maybe I'm a crazy person and I don't have it. But I don't feel like I've knit 9 skeins of yarn into here, which is how many skeins that I had originally. And then I bought one to make 10. So, yep. I am just using bamboo needles because it's really, double points are the way to go with this 10 stitch blanket because you're only working 10 stitches. You don't want to be dealing with cables. And if your children pull your needle out, which mine have done many times, it's only unraveling 10 stitches. I've had them maybe go down a couple of rows even. It's not that much to get it back on. So these are just old Clover Bamboo double points that I have from when I first started knitting. But they still work. So that's that guy. And Anna is also running a year-long blanket along in her group. So if you are knitting blankets, scrappy or otherwise, or making blankets of any kind, because she also accepts like sewing and however you're making a blanket, it's fine. You can enter it in her group. And I'm donating a bag to her at some point. I thought on this podcast I would show all of my whips, but I'm a little bit worried I'm going to run out of time, so I'm going to skip the ones that I haven't done any work on, which is a lot of these. I think it's all of those right there. I cast on for my Luella top in the pumpkin yarn, but it's literally just the cast on. I haven't done anything else with it because I need to sit down and look at the directions, so that's not very interesting and I'm not going to show it to you. I'll save it for later. However, what I have been working on a ton, and I was able to try this on and it's fitting amazingly, is my Sew Faded sweater. This is knit out of a set that was done by Pandia's Jewels, and it was called the Booster Pack. So it was all these different Star Wars inspired yarns intended to make a Find Your Fade shawl. I didn't want to make a Find Your Fade shawl. It's kind of too big for my taste. It wouldn't really work with the way I wear shawls. However, I really wanted to make a fade sweater. So I was going to do my own adapted fade, and then she released the Sew Faded sweater, and I was all in. So here it is. So far I have done 2 colors plus their fades, and I am now fully onto my 3rd color. This one is called When You Try to Rescue Your Boyfriend and End Up a Slave Girl on Tatooine. This one is called 1 in a Million Shots Still Crash Lands on Dagobah. And then the one that I'm currently on is called You're My Only Hope. So it's going to cream with yellow and black speckles, which is picking up the yellow and cream from this one. So this was my fade section, which I think it faded very nicely. I did it a little bit longer on the top part, just like it said in the pattern. So I'm doing my fade sections, I think are my solid sections are 3 inches. My fade sections are 1 1/4 inches. And I am obviously separated on the sleeves. It looks like it's really tiny, but it's quite stretchy. I have it on a small needle right now. I'm knitting on size 5 needles. Of course I am, because everything I knit is on size 5 needles. Size 5 is my magical needle. I always get gauge with it for everything, and I don't have that many of them. And I'm pretty sure that's why I always get gauge with it. I'm slowly stocking up on size 5 needles because that is my magical needle. So here's the color that I'm currently doing, which, like I said, this is my favorite out of the whole set. You'll hear my favorite. So it's gray, yellow, and cream. And then the next one I will be fading in is called Chewy Hit the Hyperdrive. and it's gonna start shifting to blues. And then my sweater will end with blues. So my next one after this is called Drowned in Moonlight, and it is like light gray, light blue, and then navy blue. And then the final one I'm going to do is Thought I Found a Safe Spot, ended up in Carbonite, and it's a pretty dark blue but not all the way navy. I'm going to save Dark Lord of the Sith Dies Falling Down an Elevator Shaft for a different sweater I have planned that's going to be stripy. So it's not going to go in this set. Here's one of the hand balms that I bought, which is Chai Spice. It's delicious. Oh, it smells like fall. Oh. Maybe I can will fall to come back. Please come back. Please. And there's washi tape in here because I don't know why, but there's washi tape. Yeah, so that's my Find Your Fade sweater. Again, I knit the size 38. It seems like it's going pretty well. I'm debating doing waist shaping. The pattern does not include waist shaping. However, I think I might do a little bit. Maybe throw a little bit in there. Not a lot, because it does seem to fit pretty well, but I do like a little bit of waist shaping, because this part is definitely bigger than this part. And then on my camping trip, I knit on my s'mores socket hat. More 2x2 ribbing, Nina? Really? Yep, really. So this is knit out of No Makers, and I always blank on the name. It's the one with alpaca in it, and it's amazing and soft and wonderful. I have my Progress Keeper on here from Sugar Tots on Etsy. It is a tea bag with a tiny little heart tag, and I love it. So I'm pretty much ready to start my stockinette portion, I think. I like to knit it so that I can fold the brim and it still will fit, just like a traditional stocking cap. And then, yeah, so I think that that is enough ribbing, and I'm ready to start on the stockinette portion. And I am knitting it on 2.75 millimeter needles. There's the other one. My other acquisition. Ah, I did have it. It was just in my bag. The final installment of the Twin Steaks Yarn Club is my favorite character from Twin Peaks, the Log Lady. This might have to go with my campfire yarn. Hey everybody, welcome back. I did not get to finish yesterday because my family came home and then everything was crazy for the rest of the evening, and I did some cleaning yesterday. So I cleaned the dining room up and organized my desk, and so I took all of my kind of leftover scraps from my various projects I've finished recently, and I put them into a Ziploc bag. Kind of took my acquisitions upstairs, took some of the stuff upstairs that I'm probably not going to cast on for a bit, and rehomed my whips that are more in hibernation. So things look better on my desk. I can see my yarn bowls again. And everybody's playing outside right now. My husband's working a little bit on the garden path. He's laying down some brick for our garden path, and he just works a little bit on it every weekend. There's a stink bug on the screen. It's very disconcerting. It's behind you guys right down there. So anyway, I figured I'd just come and really quickly finish off the podcast. I was pretty much done with sharing things, but I had a couple things come yesterday, one of which is a white Christmas tree for my daughter's room. She really, really wanted one last year, and when we went to go buy them, because I was like, oh, we'll just wait until they're on sale after Christmas, we waited a little bit too long, so they were sold out of them. But Amazon had one that was a 2-foot tree. It's really small. It's like that big. And it was $9. The intention is that she wants to keep it up all year and decorate it for all the different holidays. So that's why it's white. So it's going to have pink lights. And I'm thinking that I might knit a Nilla the unicorn for the topper and have her arms around the top of the tree and maybe holding a little knitted star. And then I can kind of sew that together or have Velcro so that then it'll be a kind of year-round topper. So we're still trying to figure out what we're gonna do with that. I cut my finger open yesterday and I just got out of the shower, thus wet hair, but I hadn't put a band-aid on it yet. So it's, yeah, let's see, it's like all cut up. It hurts. But I also received stay tape in that shipment. So I got the Christmas tree and stay tape, and I've been waiting on this stay tape to finish my Coco top. I want to make the Coco dress. Gabby Gales, who is the dyer behind Once Upon a Corgi, Gabby. She's Gabby Gales on Instagram and I think on Ravelry as well. She is hosting a Coco sew-along. And I wanted to do it, but I decided I was going to do the top as my muslin since I've not sewed with jersey before. And I'm not sure on the sizing of it. So I did my top in a size 5. If it works, then I will do the size 5 dress because the hips and length look good for that. It's really just the bust that I wasn't sure about. So my muslin is out of this fabric. So here's what I've cut out. It looks huge. Looks huge. This is the one that says it gives a finished measurement on the bust of 39, which my bust is 44. But it looks really big. So I don't know. But the seam allowances are 5/8 inch, which is a pretty darn big seam allowance. So I'm going to be cutting off quite a bit on each side. And I can always make the seam allowances bigger and then trim. This is actually the back. Maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. It's weird to see your clothing pieces deconstructed because it's, for me, it's hard to visualize. I have a lot of trouble visualizing. So far I've done almost nothing. It basically just said to do a gather stitch on the top, and I think later that's what I'm going to use as my indicator for rolling down the neckline. I don't know, I'm learning as I go, guys. And then here's the front piece. So it's going to have a pretty high neckline, but it's going to be like a boat neck, which is a nice neckline. And then it has 3/4 sleeves, which I didn't bring the sleeve piece over because it still has the pattern piece attached to it and it has pins in it, so I didn't want to mess with it. But the stay tape is for these shoulder seams to give a little bit more stabilizer on the top. I talked to Kristen and she said she's never used stay tape when she's sewn knitted fabric. But the pattern said it's a good idea, and I didn't want to deviate from the pattern my very first time doing it. So I went ahead and ordered it, and we'll see what happens. So yeah. Excuse me. If I have time today, I would like to at least get the stay tape on and then do the side seams on this. I think maybe the neckline is the next thing that you do after that. So if I could just get a little bit more going, that would be great. So I think once I get this guy put together and I feel good about it, then I'll feel really good about charging forward with the regular cocoa, which is what I'm going to make my sushi dress out of. And I really want my sushi dress before it gets too cold to wear it. I think with 3/4 sleeves though, it'll be okay for quite a while. I just put on some Burt's Bees and it's still tingly. My lips were really chapped. Okay. It's going to be really long, which is nice. I like a good long top. So I think I was finishing showing you whips. So that's my sewing whip right now. And then I knit a little bit more on Megwin's Hermione socks yesterday. So those are knit out of Bungalow Gnome from No Makers in the Hermione colorway. So here they are. I'm actually ready to start the heel now. She doesn't have a very long leg, obviously. She's not super tall. So I'm just doing vanilla socks. And then I'm going to do her heel flap in this leftovers of Scruffy Gnome, which is a tweed in the Strawberries colorway, which I think will look very nice. I've already heard him calling for Megwin. Joshua wanted to go outside and blow bubbles, but I'm sure that that lasted for all of 5 minutes, and then he started running around in the yard because that's what he does. And unfortunately, we don't have a fenced-in yard. So he's getting better about respecting the property boundaries, but he's 3. So we can't expect too much out of him. I did work a little bit more on my sock since I showed it to you last. To you, it hasn't been very long, but for me, it's been a whole day, and I didn't get a lot of time to knit yesterday. But I did start on the pattern part. So when I was showing it, I just had this. So I did this yesterday. So I'm doing the Blueberry Waffles pattern. Wow, I love it. It's turning out so nice. I might actually make this be the front because this side the stripes aren't exactly lining up nicely for the color changes aren't lining up on Knit Rose, but on this side they very serendipitously are. So that may become my front, since the front's really what you see when you're wearing hand knit socks. I don't care a ton, it's just little bits here and there. And then a new cast on that I did not show last time because it's a new cast on. I cast on my first pair of colorwork mittens from the Selbu Mitten Club by Skandir Knits with Ellie. And if you're not knitting colorwork mittens and you would like to, her club is a really great way to try them out because they're knit in DK weight. The patterns are very straightforward so far. I haven't had any issues with them and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm knitting this out of my Isle Yarns DK. I got 2 colors. This color is Shell Track. I don't remember what this color is. I didn't remember last time either. So I'm just about done with the cuff chart and ready to start the actual hand chart. I think I maybe have one more row on it. So far so good. They feel snug but not too tight. I think they're gonna block out very nicely. There you go. I'm knitting them on a size 6 US, and I think I did the cuff on a 5. And then my other pair, my next pair, I'm going to do reversed. So this cranberry color will be the main color, and then the Shell Track, the light gray, will be the contrast. It's a very sheepy wool, but that's great. It's gripping so nicely for my color work. And here's my inside, in case you want to see it. I haven't done any color work in a couple of years, so it's fun to come back to it now, especially because now that I am more prolific with knitting with my left hand, it actually feels really weird to be holding stuff in my right hand again, which is funny because I knit for years and years that way. What did I throw in here? Oh, I bet this is my Taunus socks. Yeah, I picked a bag for it. So this was a Christmas bag I sewed last year. I need to sew some Halloween bags, guys, because I love Christmas, but it's too soon even for me to be using Christmas bags. I'm not feeling great about that. Okay, last thing, and then I bought a couple of patterns too, and I didn't share those in acquisition simply because I did not have them with me and I wanted to show you the pictures. So I will share those next time. Oh, there's my husband. I think he's done with his stuff. Okay. Last thing is my cross stitch by Halloween Town Cross Stitch by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I am almost done with this. I have one more cloud to stitch. One more or two more? One more plus a half. So this one right here is halfway done, and then I have some smoke to do out of the chimney, and then this will be done as far as stitching. So I started back stitching last night just because I find that very inspiring, because I really think it finishes off the piece. Oh, and I have the little polka dots to do on the mushrooms, but that's 6 stitches. They're just like these little white polka dots on the hot pink mushrooms, but I hate doing like little one dot here and there. It drives me flippin' nuts. I don't like cross stitch that has a lot of that. It drives me crazy. So here it is. I'm gonna peep over top of it so I can see what I'm doing. Isn't it cute? Their little faces. The pumpkins have faces now. Mr. and Mrs. Frankie have faces, and Frankenstein has his little scar. All of the creatures up to that side have the back stitching. Did I do this top owl? I think I did this owl, his eyes. That was the last thing I did last night. So I just have to do this owl and her candy pumpkin, a little jack-o'-lantern, and then the crows you actually outline with that lime green. So I need to go back and do them. Oh, and this little jack-o'-lantern down by the haunted house. It's hard to share when you can't see what you're doing. I'm so happy with it. It's so cute. And then I think what I'm going to do is give it a nice bath and let it dry. And then I'm going to iron it, and then I'm going to put interfacing on the back of it, because my plan is to sew this onto a project bag. So to make sure that this is nice and stiff on the portion that's going to be on the back, I will interface this section, and that will also allow me to cut it without the fabric unraveling. Then I think I'm going to quilt some pieces around it, and then I will trim it after I've interfaced and put the quilt strips around it. And then I will sew the back and the lining and everything else as though it's one big piece. I hope it's going to work out, because I really don't want to ruin my cross stitch, but I'm super excited. This is going to make it the cutest project bag. Just for size comparison. Let's edge it out. Here's the edge of my sock bag. So I think it's going to make a perfect sweater size bag, which is exactly what I wanted. I have a lot of this size bags. I want some more bigger sweater size bags. So I'm so excited. I'm almost done with it. Might be able to finish that today. But Megan and I are going to tie-dye today. She really, really wants to tie-dye. So we're going to do that this afternoon. And I will try to take some footage of it, but I probably will not put it in this episode. I will save it for the next one, because this episode I have some footage from my local yarn store. I have footage from wool gathering, what I got in from camping more generally. So I will add all of that now and get this edited and up, and then I'm gonna tie-dye with Megwin while my husband and son are at the grocery store. And then when they get back, it's going to be all about prep for the week. So I will be making my lunch stuff. I have to decide what I'm going to take for lunch next week. And then setting up my breakfast food, my overnight oats, putting stuff away after the grocery. And then if I have time, I will sew the rest of what I can on my Cocoa Top. Or maybe I'll do a Halloween bag. Or a fall bag. I don't know. You can clearly tell I have no plans at all. Fly by the seat of my pants. That's how I operate. So anyway, have a great week, everybody. Thank you for joining me. And I will see you next time. All right, bye. I think it's their stock room. We're going to the wool gathering. Going to see sheep. Yeah. Yes, Bubby? This way. Come on, buddy. Oh, they look wet. Ooh. Okay, let's go look at the sheep. Hi! It's our camping neighbors! That's right! We were wondering if you guys knew if it was wool gathering this weekend. We were like, I wonder if they know there's a bunch of crazy diggers there, or we'll surprise them. I'm right here, buddy! You gonna see the sheep? Yeah, I got Josh. Look! Hello, cows. They're not cows, they're sheep. Oh, he hurt him. They're fierce. Those sheep are so fierce. Joshua, come here, buddy. You want to go see these? Come down here. Whoa, buddy, hang on. What? touch that? Oh, careful. Gentle. Aww. Move to the side, sweetie. Oh, look, it's a white Christmas tree. We gotta find Martha. Where's Martha? We're almost there. Almost there. There it is. Hooray, Joshua.